Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth Howling. This week, for my little programming project, I decided to do something a little bit more fun than some of the stuff I have been doing. I made a little Space Invaders clone. If you remember that game that used to be all over arcades a few decades ago, where the invaders slowly crawl down the screen. You have a little tank. You've got to shoot them and stop them from destroying the city below. So I replicated that here, and I'll show it to you in a sec. But first, let's go over the code here. First off, I just had to initialize. I used classes in Python here. It's Python and Arcade is um, the arcade library is what I'm using really to make this in Python is what I'm using to make this game. So I created this class for Space Invaders, and I had to initialize a lot of different variables in the class. This player sprite, player list, bullet list, invader list, and these are all things that are just going to be used to build the initial like scene, and then these things are going to come into play. The rest of these things are going to come into play as the game progresses, such as the direction the invaders move, the speed they move, a little cooldown shot to make the game a little cooldown to make it so that people can't really bullet spam. That makes the game a little harder, and then game over and game winning conditions. And so all these variables come into play in this setup right here, making the all this stuff is initialized, the screen is set, this part right here initializes all the invaders, and then this part right here initializes all the buildings. So then there's about uh, there's quite a few invaders that spawn. I'm not sure exactly how many, but there's 8 buildings that spawn at the bottom of the screen. And unlike in Space Invaders, these just disappear on one hit instead of like slowly deteriorating. I might look into making it a little bit more like Space Invaders in the future with the buildings deteriorating. Yeah, and then this here is how we actually control the tank, though. As you can see on key press, these mean use the arrow keys to control the tank, move this tank along the bottom of the screen, and then you use your left mouse button to click and shoot. And then this on update function is really where most of the magic of the game happens. This is where everything updates. It's a pretty long function. But right here, um, if the game's over, it won't update anymore. So once the game's over, this whole function stops. But until then, uh, things things are updated. This is where it uh checks for player movement, where it checks if the bullet has gone off the screen, um, or if it's hit an invader or a building. This is where that happens. Then this is where it goes off the screen. This makes sure that the sprite doesn't go off, your little player sprite doesn't go off the screen. And then this also keeps track of the amount of invaders left and the amount of buildings left. So if there are no more invaders left, you win the game. If there are no more buildings left, you lose. And right here is where the invaders actually move and are hit with bullets. But enough of the code. Let's actually look at the game. So I'm going to click play right here. It's going to run. And then this comes up, and as you can see, we're already moving just that little bit. So the invaders are moving left and right. When they hit that to the screen, they'll move down. As you can see, I have them moving down pretty quick. But let me show you what happens when all the buildings are destroyed. You can destroy them with your own tank too. Just trying to make it a little harder. But once the last building is destroyed, it is game over. But if we destroy all the invaders, let me see if I can do this. Actually try to win the game in a set for a second here. Trying to bullet spam. As you can see, I'm clicking the mouse pretty repeatedly, but delay is like every 0.03 seconds. So it's not just letting me spam completely, and they move faster and faster as they descend. That's another feature I forgot to mention. I got 2 there. I'm almost, as you can see, it gets significantly harder as they get down. It's not super hard in general, but See if I can just, there we go. Then you win if they're all gone. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys check it out. This code will be on my GitHub. Um, but yeah, that's what I've created this week. Thanks for watching.